welcome back to the Coach Dave Academy YouTube channel. My name is Bart, and today we'll be doing another lap guide video. Here we are in the F4, and we're going to be doing Interlagos. Here's the hot lap. Alright, so heading down the main straight and Interlagos. Into the first corner. Pretty standard. Straight line. Main thing here is the white line is not perfectly straight with where the corner is, and it's a tricky one because we're coming at a high speed, but it's not a slow corner, but it has a heavy braking zone. And what I mean by that is it's not like a hairpin where you just think, brake as late as I can and just stop the car. You've got that difficulty of a high-speed braking zone and the corner being fairly blind, but you also have to roll quite a bit of speed through the corner and having a long exit afterwards that punishes you if you're inaccurate and get it wrong. So really tricky first corner can define a lot of your lap here. So important to try and be consistent here. And first thing to try and help with that is going, I'd say, in line with the white line. Some cars you can go, there's no reason why you can't go on the AstroTurf on the right. There's no off tracks and it's got grip and stuff like that. It's just not quite level with this part of the track isn't joining. It's not exactly flat. And I find with where we want to be pointing this car, we don't want to be pointing into the apex at the start. We want to be pointing away and then turning off the white line, which we'll see in a second. So very late braking here after the 50-meter board, just after the 50-meter board in front of this marshal's post on the right, hitting the brakes super hard down to fourth gear. And you can see the banking on this corner as well. So turning off the white line just before this bit of AstroTurf kind of thing that's not got as much grass on it. A good reference for you there. On this one, trying to get up on the curb, you can avoid the curb, and I know I've said this before in Interlagos lap guide, but you can avoid the curb and carry a bit of speed. On the fixed setup, it is sometimes useful to get that rotation on the bigger curb. So I would recommend that if you're struggling with understeer, and also just helps open up the line as well. But I wouldn't recommend taking just like part of the curb. Either have your left wheel kind of here on the white line or try and take all of it. Don't go in the middle because it kind of just bounces it a little bit and slides the car. But it is quite difficult to every single lap be accurate and get it here. But ideally, this is what you want to be doing. So fourth gear, you can tell early the throttle pickup is. I mean, the exit of the corner is over here somewhere, right? For this next second bit. We're on throttle right now on the apex of the first part of this corner. So that's why, like I said, it's important to get this angle so we really open up the rest of this section for the long straight. So picking up throttle fairly quickly. I mean, it's always going to be a struggle there, but fairly quickly. Also important to roll as much speed as you can whilst getting your positioning right. You're going to be able to slightly reposition before the right, but really it's just going to be a quick flick right, which is, again, why we don't want to be out super fast to the right-hand side of the track. And get in the groove. Get your right tyres on the grass. If you do this too much, it will just kind of really badly and you'll crash, but generally you'll just get a slide on exit and it'll kind of hurt your exit. But here you can see a little bit of grass actually does help turn a bit, and more than anything, we're just trying to shorten the distance. If you turn in a bit later here, you just understeer off with the shape of the corner. So you can see this is no off track. So this is 100% doable, and I'd say almost every lap I've got my right wheels in the dirt here. So using all this curb, and it should be all flat out now, just trying to shorten the distance and then reduce the load on the car by straightening the wheel. And we've got a long run now before turn 4. So braking here. Braking here for turn 4. You've got this little service road here on the right-hand side. This is your main reference and the 50-meter board. I'm always thinking just after that, actually, there's a little bit. You can probably see a little bit better from cockpit camera. So you can see here the road is not straight. So the white line kind of deviates here. And I'd say this is a reference as well. So it's kind of between this service road and I use this little deviation here because it's really hard to see in here. Really, really, really hard. Curb, you don't want to hit it too early because then you can use your understeering going off track, which is very easy to do here. And obviously you don't want to be too late because you never really make it back to the apex. So it's really tricky because it's blind apex. We're very low down in this car. So just trying to be consistent and accurate with our braking will help. In making sure we don't make as many mistakes on the exit. So yeah, we've got this little reference here to be braking at. Where the line deviates, like I said, just after the service road. Good place to start as well. Really efficient straight line braking. Just think, okay, I really want to stop the car in straight line before I turn to the corner. Don't get pulled into just trying to turn in a little bit early and braking and turning into the corner. You'll tighten up the entry and the car won't brake as well. It will really hurt you on the exit, especially. So just try and brake a little bit longer in a straight line. So you'll see here, braking hard, maintaining that really high pressure down to 4th gear, then turning in, coming out of the brake. We're not holding the brake as we go in. If you do that, you'll kind of drag the tire and it'll slide it on the edge of a lockup and you'll just end up missing the apex. So getting into the curb, for this corner, really you just want to take the flat part of the curb at the bottom and the white line. You don't need to be on the high part of the curb. It doesn't really help. You don't really need the help of that rotation. And it kind of just stalls, ends up making the corner tighter than it needs to be. You're better to just roll a bit of speed there. And when you come out of the brake here, you should roll enough speed that you can see I had this little coast phase. So wait. Now we're on throttle. And it should be fairly quick to full throttle as well, so we don't pick up much understeer. The track limit on exit is the white line. If you go over the white line with your left-hand side tires, you will get off track. Very easy to do that, so please keep that in mind. Heading up the hill, just trying to shorten the distance, keep the car to the left-hand side a bit, reduce the lock on the steering, position nice and early so we're not inconsistent with where we're turning in for this double right. Turning in on the early side, I find here. So you're looking to meet the second curb. So you want to be on the second curb coming up here. You can see we're right next to the white line on the first part of this corner. Really soft brake. Soft brake and turn in. Very easy here to over push the entry or to just over push the front tire, brake and turn and just slide off and lose all your momentum. You gain a lot more time here if you reduce the distance, I find. The grip's in tighter, and apart from that, just reducing the distance in a long corner like this will help, and this car doesn't like to be scrubbing and going wide and sliding with all this speed. So we can just kind of reduce the distance a little bit, being really soft and kind of supple on the brakes. That'll really help. So you can see down to 4th, it's a late downshift, right? So 5th now, down to 4th when we need the rotation a bit later in the corner, and that later downshift will also delay the deceleration of the car. So you're not too slow too early, if that makes sense. And then you can see here, just trying to meet this inside curve, which just assists the car with rotating over the crest. So that's really ideal in that scenario. They're getting all the way over to the left-hand side, positioning nicely. We don't have much time here, so it's important to get the first bit of that corner right. Braking a straight line down to 3rd. This is, again, completely legal, so make sure we've got the whole car on the curb pretty much in a straight line with the white line. Brake down to 3rd gear, roll off the brakes. Try and hook your right-hand tires on inside the lip of this curb on the AstroTurf. Once you do that, you should be able to pick up the throttle to try and avoid the car kind of sliding too much. And you can see here we get a really nice position into the left. So we're not all the way on the left-hand side of the road. We're kind of mid-track here, and we're able to just turn in, have a really soft brake. And this brake, more than anything, we don't really want to kill the momentum here. We're just trying to put enough weight on the nose, just trying to pitch the front of the car enough so that we get enough rotation on the entry and then we're not sliding the front. That allows us to pick up the throttle earlier, keeps us in tighter to the corner, so less distance, once again, in the camber of the corner where all the grip is. then letting the car, really important there, don't hold the steering on like that. If you're going like this, full throttle, just wait a little bit to pick up throttle, then get on throttle, just wait a little bit, and try and be smoother on your steering. Very quickly here, as soon as you've exited and you're not loaded anymore, try and get back to the left-hand side of the track. Really important to do it straight away. Just trying to open up the entries to this corner. Over to the white line here on the left-hand side of the track, braking as straight as possible with the white line. Down to third, you can see we deviate from the white line quite quickly. We just did a little bit of straight line braking. We'll try to be, again, really efficient on the brakes in the straight line where the car will let us use a lot of the braking performance. And then we have to start turning and roll out very quickly on the brakes. You can still, I'm still trailing a tiny bit of brake pressure, again, just to assist with the rotation, just to keep the car turning. But you can't hold much more brake than this, otherwise you'll get a lot of sliding at the front. And in the camber, it should kind of pick us up, carry us through the corner if we get it turned in early and nicely here. So you can use plenty of this inside curb. Again, use all that camber. Very early throttle pickup here. Will look like you're facing the wrong way, but it's quite low in the revs in third. So you won't really struggle for a slide or wheel spin too much. Then once again, be really smooth on the steering on the exit, get the lockout, and make sure you're not got the, if you have half a car over the white line, when this curb ends, you will get off track. Watch out, probably the easiest off track to get if you're not paying attention. Then here, just reduce the distance, keep it to the left-hand side of the track, keep it with the white line, stay with the camber, just be smooth, pretty easy corner. Now here, make sure we're using all this part of the AstroTurf. For whatever reason, this has got the same grip as the tarmac on iRacing, so we're going to use it, and there's no off tracks. So, braking here, in line with the white line. Not a heavy brake. If you brake hard here, like I said, it is pretty grippy, but the problem we have is all the bumps. There's a lot of, you can see there's one big bump there, and there's a lot of bumps here, and when you rejoin the track over this crest, it is very easy to, if you brake a little bit too hard, kind of pinch or pinch or drag the tire. So it's either locking up or it's on the edge of a lock up, and it just kind of slides the tire. Especially on iRacing, if you slide the front tire on the entry like this, the surface temperature of the tire goes up, and you lose a lot of your performance. So it's important not to do that, especially for a long exit like this. So if you're going to do anything, be on the slightly softer side, brake a little bit earlier, just so we don't overload the tire on the entry here. Really easy to do. But yeah, get over, use as much of this entry as possible. You can see medium kind of brake pressure here, 50%. Maintain that for a bit, and as you start hitting these bumps, you have to bleed out fairly quickly. Down to fourth gear, just trailing a little bit of brake to help it turn, and then very early throttle pickup here. Partially, this is also to settle the rear, because I struggle a lot with oversteer through here, and it's not so much that the car is super slidey, it's more the bumps and the way the shape of the track tries to rotate the car. So just be careful with that, because you can get a slide here quite often that hurts your exit. So it's good to pick up a little bit of throttle, which will put some weight back on the rear tires, and will stop the car, like I said, sliding so much on the rear, and settle it over the bumps and the apex curve that's coming up here. So you can see it pick up the throttle, not to full throttle yet, but just to kind of settle the car as it's wanting to rotate through here, because we should have rolled quite a bit of speed. Like I said, off the brakes here, not trying to overload the front. Nice to pick up a bit of throttle, just settle the rear. And then once we get hooked up on this curve, we should be able to pretty much go to full throttle there. I'd recommend you can always run out to the edge of the AstroTurf here, and that will allow you to carry more speed. However, it with the way this car bottoms out, so the floor of the car, the plank touches the curb, and it'll kind of stall your exit. It's better just to run so your right wheels are using all of this green, yellow, and white curve, and then that's it pretty much. This is the limit here. But yeah, important here to have a good exit, smooth as possible on the steering without getting a slide. It's really tricky here, the bumps and things like that, but it makes a huge difference. And then straight away to the left-hand side of the track, shortening the distance to the line. It's a long run here in a very low-powered car, so let's try and focus on doing it. It's worth quite a bit. Can be worth up to, I'd say, half a tenth, maybe a bit more. And keeping the car in tight once again, cutting across the pit entry, again, no off track, just reducing the distance to the line. And that is the end of our lap at Interlagos. Okay then, so that takes us to the end of the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And you can also check out the Coach Dave Academy Discord, which is in the video description. I've been Bart, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.